Good evening, everyone. Just going to do another video here. It's going to focus in on creating a S3 trigger or event that triggers a Lambda function. We did this previously actually in another repo, but it was buried down after a lot of C++ stuff, and we just went through it really quickly. So here I thought I'd just do another one that was really, really light, and all it's going to do is kind of like focusing on the trigger. The other thing I did here was I made a brand new account, so if anytime you're going through here and you see my account number flying around, don't worry about it because I'm going to delete that this account before I upload the video. I just want to show you really quickly, it's a brand new account. There's nothing in my S3, no logs in here. We don't have any roles. The only thing I did was I created a main user. I just gave them a main access, and that's what I'm using here now to do the video. We don't have any Lambda functions. And the other thing I did was make a Cloud9 environment. Unfortunately, the Cloud9 environment, one of the things I dislike is that it still has the old CLI version 1. So I updated the AWS CLI to version 2. I just kind of included the instructions to do that right here. And so with that, we'll jump in, and the first thing you have to do, of course, is anytime you try to create a Lambda function, is you need a role for that Lambda function to attach to it. I left the CLI instructions here. However, I can't do it through the Cloud9 environment, so I'm just going to jump in and create one here. Again, just show you a different way to do it. It's super, super simple. We just go in. The only two things that we have to add to it is the execution role, basic execution role, and S3. I need to be able to read write to it. I'm going to be a little bit loose with my permissions here now, and we're going to call that just so that what did I call it? Lambda demo. You can call it whatever you want. If you do this, you can maybe just copy the commands a little bit easier as well. Okay, so now we have that Lambda role created. We need to create a Lambda function itself. And actually, before we do that, let's go and let's clone the repo. So we'll just go in here. Super light repo, so it only takes really a second to download. Okay, sorry, move this around so you can see a little bit better. And if we jump into the repo, you can see it's a very simple Lambda function. It just reads the data coming in from that event and just speaks back and says hello there and gives the name of the file that was uploaded. I also kept that policy in here if you want to do it from the CLI. If you figure out how to do that from Cloud9, please let me know in the comments because it's something that really bugs me, to be honest. So with that, we need to package up the Lambda function. Zip file is only one thing. And actually here I'm cheating a little bit, and just because you're going to have to update the Lambda role, ARN, and so I just did that so I can on the fly here. Here we go. Cube, get out of that, I think that's weird. Okay, and so that created the Lambda function. Let's just jump in here really quick, do a little refresh. We can see, oh, there we got the Lambda function. However, this is a Lambda function that's sitting there without any sort of trigger. And before we do that, let's actually, and there's a sequence of things you have to do. So here, when you make the permissions and you make the bucket, you have to do it in this particular order. So let's go in and let's create the bucket. And again, one of the things, of course, they are not unique. So let's see if this particular bucket name is available. Now we've got to. Excellent. You won't be able to use that one, of course, or maybe you do if I deleted this. One of the other thing we're doing here is when we create the bucket, we're going to make this tag here, or the little prefix, which shows up looking like, now we'll have the bucket. It looks like a folder in here, and there's nothing in it. The main reason why you want to do this is if you have a Lambda function that keys off something that comes into the inbox, if you then write back to that same location, you'll keep getting into that infinite loop, and you could actually get some serious charges built up. So with that, we've got the Lambda function created. Now we actually need to go in and create the trigger. And we can see, yep, everything has been updated. Boom. And actually, this is the first thing we do is we're adding permissions so that the S3 can then invoke the Lambda function. So that's why I say there's a bit of a sequence of things. We made the S3 bucket. Now we're giving that S3 bucket permission to trigger the Lambda function, or the Lambda function that we created above, and that's why you need to go in and change the ARN of the Lambda function here, and then your account has to get updated to capture that. Then the next thing we need to do is put a event configuration on the S3 bucket, and that's this JSON file. It's pretty straightforward. The only thing you'll see now, we have the filter rules, and this is where we filter on the inbox, and obviously very important. So we have that created. There's nothing you have to change in here. Oh, I have to say that's not true. You have to actually change your Lambda ARN. So let's go in here, and let's get the Lambda ARN. There's the Lambda ARN. So look in here, we got to look ARN. Oops. There we go. I've got a Lambda ARN. Just save that. If I don't happen to forget to remove that, make sure that you check that file before running the this call right here. And again, it's the bucket. You gotta make sure you update your bucket. And let's copy that in. Boom. Now if we go in and look at the Lambda function, do a little refresh here. You can see now we actually have this S3 bucket, and it even shows the prefix here, which is really nice. We go back to the S3 bucket itself. We go into properties, and there we have the event notification. So the event notification, we've got the trigger set up properly. Then we're ready to go, and it's as simple as that. Here I'm just going to make a file. You can call it whatever you want. And then the last thing we do is upload the file. You obviously do this in CLI if you wanted. So there we go. Now if we go in to the S3 bucket, inbox, do a little refresh here. There we go, boom. Now it does take a little bit of time, more time than I would actually, I'm kind of surprised, to be honest, for this to show up, the actual call. But you will see it might take a minute or two, and let's see, 11:36. I'm just going to pause the video until it comes up. And actually, one thing I noticed is you can see here, it doesn't show up here yet, but when I go over to CloudWatch is much quicker. It's a little bit interesting. So we already have the log stream, and boom, there we go. Hello there. The package name is bar, which is exactly right. So there we go. We have a Lambda function that was triggered off an upload. Again, pretty easy, pretty straightforward to do. You can do it all from the console. And again, I'm just going to let it run for a few seconds here and see how long it takes. We say 11, and I'm just going to hit pause. So it's fairly interesting. The metrics just showed up over here. So it took like took about 6 minutes for the invocation to actually show up on the metrics. And the logs themselves still don't show up. So it's quite a delay between the CloudWatch system and the logs that are here on the Lambda console, which is quite interesting. So it's interesting. I didn't see the logs show up here for such a long time, but I went and ran it a second time. And the second time, the logs showed up again in CloudWatch, showed up within a couple seconds. But here it showed up in just probably a minute or so. So I'm not quite sure why it didn't show up. It's quite interesting. So it looks like this interface missed it on the first time. I wonder if I do the third. Yeah, there you go. On the third attempt, it took about 2 minutes for it to show up, the log. But the first one simply didn't show up, which again is quite interesting. But and if anyone understands why that doesn't go through, I wonder if it's always the first time it's indicated it misses it. Very interesting. And here we can just kind of see again how a little bit of information on it, how much it cost, how long it took, all that sort of good information. But as I said, it's nice end-to-end. Shows you very easily how we could go and have a certain amount of business logic that can be kicked off when you upload something into a file. And of course, it's very important that you use that filter so you don't write back into the file and have that Lambda function in an infinite loop. With that, thanks, and have a good night.